Today, I want to talk about something extremely important that I feel gets overlooked a lot, but people go through it every single day. And what this is basically who you follow, if that really matters that much. Meaning, if you don't follow somebody that you are a friend with, if that should define the friendship or the relationship. Okay. And before I get into it, thank you so much for tuning into this video. And if you haven't already checked out my previous videos, again, I appreciate it. Definitely, I recommend doing so. I love talking to you guys about just topics that I feel aren't talked about that much. And most importantly, I love giving my perspective. But in this video, I really want to talk about this subject, how that can define people's relationships, friendships, if they don't follow other people. I recently had a conversation today with a buddy of mine, and he found out that he got blocked by a person. And the person has nothing against him whatsoever, but it got blocked. I will tell you, I've gotten blocked from people before just because of a simple miscommunication. Of course, I'll tell you it wasn't me. I didn't miscommunicate it. I always try to make sure that everything's good. But at the end of the day, it's does that really matter? And whenever somebody would block you or not necessarily follow you, should that define a friendship, or should that define a relationship moving forward? You go back to the 1990s and just the 80s, 70s, where they didn't even have social media. Tech was just literally starting to form. They didn't have social media back then. And when you think about it, friendships and relationships were a lot more stronger back then than what they are today. Because we let social media, technology define that label. And believe it or not, listen, people have jobs, they're making a lot of money with social media and things like that. I can talk about social media on a whole nother topic, but from this angle and this perspective I'm coming at this from it's very interesting how if you don't follow somebody, how that can shift their opinion and their perspective of how they view you. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, I keep my following extremely limited, extremely low. There was a point in time where, I used to follow over 1,000 people, over a couple thousand people. But I realized, man, I'm so immersed in all of this content. And if you haven't checked out my content video, you know where to go. I'm so immersed into all this content that I can't even focus on me. And it's gotten to the point now where, I follow to this day, right now, I know off the top of my head, I follow 203 people. It might be more, it might be less whenever you watch this. And I don't always view all of their stories. I have some of their stories blocked. I have some of their posts blocked. And you might be thinking, well, Nate, why do you still follow them? It's because some of them just post too frequently and I don't want to see their content all the time. I might click on their page every once in a while and look at it, but at the end of the day, this is something so small that really does not even matter, and it should not let me say this again. It should not define a relationship. It should not define a friendship. It should not define a business partnership if you decide to follow or unfollow somebody. Because at the end of the day, this right here, if I'm facing you face to face, man to man, man to woman, woman to woman, okay, whatever it is, animal to animal, I don't know, robot to robot, you don't know what's coming. If I face you face to face and you know what it is that we have, straight up, that's how it is. That's how I live. That's how I live my life. I'm yo, if we chill, we chill. I ain't got nothing against you. The fact that I don't follow you, that doesn't mean I'm pissed at you. That doesn't mean I don't like you. That doesn't mean that I'm irritated with you, okay? Now, if somebody blocks you, then yeah, it's a little petty, right? Then you might think about that, man, if somebody's blocking me, they must never want to see me ever again, right? But the whole follow, unfollow thing, I'm a firm believer that, don't let that get to your head. If somebody doesn't follow you, keep in mind, maybe they're doing that because they simply respect their feed. Maybe you do post a lot. Maybe you don't post a lot at all. But you still got to respect that person. And if they have nothing wrong with you, and if you talk to them on like a daily basis, don't let it get to your head. We overthink these things. Social media is great, but man, it leads to so many issues and in all the relationships, friendships, business, so many issues, man. I mean, personally myself, I can attest to it where just the fact that I unfollow like previous clients that we've had or friends that I just don't follow anymore, they unfollow me too. And I'm like, cool, go ahead and do that. But I know one thing, you're gonna follow me back in the next upcoming years, because the bigger somebody gets, just watch. Those people will be the first ones to follow you. And they'll also be the first ones to say they've always supported you. There's a reason why Drake and all these rappers, make in their videos about, it's funny how people follow you now. But man, when you were on your downfall, when you were low, they didn't follow you, they didn't support you. But now when you on your rise and you at the top, you remember me? Hey, yo, Nate, I'm over here, man. Like, yo, I went back. I'm like, nah, man. I remember that. So anyways, guys, again, don't let this impact your life. This should get talked about a lot more. It really doesn't. But just focus on you. Follow who you want to follow. Don't have any bad blood just because you don't follow somebody. And if somebody's like that, if somebody has that big of an issue because you don't follow them and they're doing the same exact thing to you back, I mean, for real, we got some like issues that need to be addressed. They do. And if it doesn't bother you like that, then you're on the right track. If it bothers them like that, then we got some insecurity and ego issues. Okay? So again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for always tuning into these videos. My goal here is to always drop as much value as I can. I love you guys. Put something in the comments. Maybe there's something you're not seeing eye to eye on. Maybe there's a point here you want to pick out. Maybe you're like, Nate, I want to address this. I feel like you didn't talk about this, right? I'm not the kind of person that's going to get offended based upon somebody leaves a negative comment. Like, nah, man, I encourage every single comment to come through because I'm learning at the end of the day from you guys, and I love to provide as much value as I can. So again, thank you so much. Stay tuned to the next videos, and I'll chat soon.